And here we are again, another great conversation getting ready to happen at Mortgage Ballers. My name is Rich Hanlin, and I've got the incredible Joanna Perry with me today. And she finally let us capture some of her time. As you can see, Joanna, thanks so much for giving me your time today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. Thanks, Rich. It's great to see you.
You know, a lot of people come to this point and they go, oh man, I'm going to be on the camera. Yes, you are. I'm going to try and capture the Joanna that I know, the Joanna that I've come to enjoy and to look forward to speaking with. Because tell me, do top originators struggle?
We do. And we keep a close-knit group. So the good ones, the ones that put people over profits, who really know their guidelines, like the true pros, we stick together. So we talk, and even if we're not an expert, some of them aren't. Some of them are.
Why was it important for you to keep a commercial office and not just work out of your house? I know some people do that.
It's important for me because I need separation in my day. Otherwise, I will work 24/7. And that's just not realistic or conducive to my experience at home right now, which is raising a daughter who's going to be starting in the fall here. Actually, this week, she's starting high school. So I find that actually the older she gets, the more she needs me.
The lenders pretty much smack you on the hand and they say, hey, you'll never be able to submit a loan through us again. They're like, hey, who cares? There's 800,000 more lenders. Because Fannie and Freddie don't.
Oh no, I care. I can't. I run a really tight ship.
I
grew up professionally at Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. So imagine the compliance at a bank like that has, 1.8 trillion in servicing, I think. So imagine the legal departments that they can create and the procedures that they have. So I grew up.
Oh no, you definitely do it right. I'm just amazed. It's been crazy. What I'm running into nowadays, everything's so electronic. They let the borrower submit an electronic application and literally they're just adding the loan amount and the LTV and shooting it off. They're not reviewing it as much anymore. Like, oh, are you married? Have you been in the armed forces, where maybe we could offer you a VA loan?
Or I see you have free car payments and one of them is co-signed. Who's making that third party payment? Who's co-signed on there? I mean, I don't allow the consumers to go direct to the lender. I have all of them apply with me either over the phone, which I prefer to take applications over the phone because I have a lot of questions that are not on the 1003 that need to be asked, like a whole supplemental sheet to make sure I'm mitigating any potential issues.
Hey, how about we go with more cost or zero cost and all the way to that? My son Justin does that a lot. He just, hey, here's 3 different ways to look at the same loan. Because when you're doing a lot of purchases, money starts to come into play, especially now that we're going to be having the buyer's agent situation starting to come into play a little bit. And some buyers might have to come up with that extra money or something to do that.
Which is even more important. For years, I've been teaching people how to dial in these fee sheets because I don't give a client, especially in California where, the housing market's a little bit tighter, right? For us to afford homes, for us to have the down payment, things like that, that's required. You have to be able to tell the client within $100 how much total funds that they're going to need at closing, not a range with the $3,000 discrepancy, because now that they may need to supplement the buyer's commission, I'm going to be able to add that on as a line item and have that exact amount.
I don't think people really... Everybody's like, oh, ChatGPT, let's ask it some questions. Who's going to be the next president? And I'm like, no, you're not asking. You can get very detailed and it will read. You can copy and paste, ask it, read it, create it, speak to me like I'm in the 7th grade, and it will.
You can upload. I had a 984 page program guideline. I mean, how many times are you going to control F, right? You don't have to do that anymore. You just pop it in a chat GPT and ask it questions. So I'll say, hey, what do I need to know about manufactured homes with this program?
The top originators have a methodology that they have learned that works for them. Their routine every single day, it fits into that methodology, who they are. They they're way past the questioning standpoint. And it's like if I blindfolded you and dropped you in some new state, guess what? Joanna Perry, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. would get up and boom, she would be off and running again.
It's because we were around before the era of targeted social media marketing. So I professionally grew up on a Brian Buffini model, working by referral. There's a great book by him called Taking Care of Business, or the three-legged, it talks about the three-legged stool, what your business, contact, care, and community. So those are like the 3 C's of my stool.
I don't sell anybody anything. I genuinely check on them. I remember things. I take notes, hot spots, things that they want, their hopes, their dreams. And I follow up with them just to check in, especially if values are going up. I just, hey, good news, been a tough market, but your value's still holding just in case you ever need to touch it. Good thing, you made a good investment. Yeah.
And like making sure you're adding every client to social media is important too, because then you catch those engagements, you catch the graduation parties, you catch the pregnancy announcements, and you can, get in front of those things and have a reason to touch base with them. And another reason, a good reason to touch base, so contact, care, and community, right? So you got to contact them. They need to know how much you care about them.
They're very serious if they're going to take the time to put something together. Most of their files are not just thrown up against a wall. I don't find that with you at all. You're very, very detailed.
Yeah, absolutely not. I pre-underwrite every single one of my files myself from top to bottom before I submit it. And my pull-through rate is 100%. I think with the exception of 2 files that canceled because of property repairs, like one had a blown sewer, and those are things outside of my control. But my underwriters and I, we always agree on the DTI, we always agree on the guidelines.
And Mortgage Ballers was designed, this is something I like to do. I feel like you should be shined on with a light. You're excellent at what you do. Mortgage brokers, they usually shine the light on themselves. And I'm like, no one wants to hear about me and what I'm doing. I want to, hey, go talk to my top producers. They're the ones that make expert home lending who it is, right?
And I don't even really want to talk about myself.
I have to force it out of you
either, because I used to be a very different person. I was driven by significance, right? I got my Atta Girls by being number 1 and by beating specifically the men. I liked it. I wanted to be number 1. I loved public praise and Atta Girls and all these things that they're lies.
I can't even script how much information you gave to us. And we're going to get a lot of specific bites out of that I think I could even make shorts, because you're just throwing so many nuggets out there. But we will do a shortened highlight video for people that want to get to the highlights of our conversation, and it'll have a link to the full unedited video. I always recommend that people take the time to watch the whole thing. If you're relating to Joanna at all, you're hearing what she's saying. These are genuine ideas on how she is consistent day in and day out in the midst of the same economy you're in. Joanna Perry, you are awesome. Thank you so, so much. You know what? There's one thing we always do at the end of a Mortgage Baller video, and it's simple as this. First of all, say thank you. But number 2, we always tell the audience, stay thirsty, my friends.